Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. What a name for a fucking office. I guess most offices here use the last names and stuff. Our first 2 months in London passed by in a flash. In that disconcerting courtroom experience we were first thrown into on the day we arrived in the country. And in Soseki-san's terrible ordeal that had followed closely behind, we had emerged victorious. However, there then came an abrupt end to our opportunities to appear in court. Which was hardly surprising, of course, since I was nothing more than an amateur, an unknown student of law from a faraway land, even though we beat fucking Van Zeeks twice now? Interesting. So life in our little office was very quiet. That is, until it was shattered one day by that fateful telegram. Okay, yeah, we ended the last trial in February, so a month and a half passed by since. That morning, I was woken by the unreserved knocking on the door by the telegram boy. But after he'd gone, Susato-san's behavior became very obviously strange. Susato-san? Yes! Is it time to leave for court already? Let me see. What case is it today? I don't think I'm scheduled to defend anyone at the moment, am I? Oh, no, of course not. How silly of me. But I think Iris said she would make us breakfast this morning. So shall we go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite? Yes. Iris makes the most delicious breakfast food. She does, doesn't she? And once our bellies are full, we can leave for court in fighting fit form. Aw, I think she's like antsy that she's not doing anything. Let me see. What case is it today? Here we go again. You okay, girly? So, what was it about? The telegram that was delivered this morning, I mean. Oh, a telegram? I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, but you're not going to get away with that. Well, I didn't think I would. Actually, don't give it a moment's thought. It's nothing. Nothing interesting. Boring, in fact. I think it concerns her dad. It was just a boring old telegram. That's 3 times now that she's tried and failed to convince me it was nothing. I promise that I'll tell you about it at some point. Alright, I understand. I suppose Soseki-san will have arrived back in Japan by now, won't he? Yes, I should think so. He left immediately after that terrible ordeal. Which would mean he should have completed the voyage already, or be just a few days away. A fortnight ago, we had that very long telegram from him, do you remember? Complaining of seasickness. But by and large, it seems the voyage has been going well. Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? I was just wondering, what might have become of Soseki-san had he stayed in London, that's all. He would have been killed. Frankly speaking. You mean, as regards to Lord Van Zeeks, the Reaper? Yes, I can't help wondering if seasickness would have paled into insignificance in that case. The Weeper. I wonder if he's still working after those 2 cases. What is it they say? That no one who stands in the dock can be saved from the Reaper, right? Like the way that Nightmare's trial ended on the very day we arrived in London. I mean, I guess that's one thing. Even 2 months on, the cause of that dreadful fire is still a mystery. Yes, but at least Soseki-san is safely out of the country now. Presumably that means that the curse of the Reaper can only take effect within the confines of the city of London, perhaps. Even if that's the case, it's little comfort. I have a terrible sense of foreboding. If the legend of the Reaper is to be believed, it would mean he wields the sword of justice himself. Come to think of it, I wonder what he's been up to these past 2 months. Surely, not wielding that sword against more acquitted defendants. No, I don't think so. Apparently, Lord Van Zieks hasn't appeared in court once since our last encounter. Oh, I guess we're both taking a break. Oh? Yes, since Soseki-san's trial, he's withdrawn from judicial service again, it seems. Really? Just like before, when he wasn't seen in court at all for several years. I wonder who went up against him then. I'm curious. So it's just been me who has had to face him in his recent spate of trials then. Ugh, just my luck. I wonder if luck doesn't come into it. Sorry, what was that? Oh, nothing. Never mind. Why aren't you telling me things? I thought we were besties. I want to look around our little office. It's spring at last, and the weather is warmer now. But I love the smell of the fire and the steam rising from the kettle. Oh, would you like some tea, Naruhodo-san? Thank you, Susato-san, but I'm alright for now. With the green tea Susato-san makes me from time to time and Iris's unique herbal infusions. This place is paradise for a true tea lover. I wanna try! Green tea is such a wonderful accompaniment to British tea cakes, don't you think? Yeah, because it's like grassy and then tea cakes are like sweet. Shovel. That spade has been in here since we started renting the place. Oh, that's not a spade, Naruhodo-san. It's a shovel. No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade. Hello? I didn't think there was a difference. Spades are smaller, is what I thought. No, spades are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a shovel. I don't want to dig a hole for myself, so let's leave it. Okay. So this is the tea set that Susato-san brought with her from Japan. Let's hope she hasn't noticed me slipping sugar and milk into my cup when she makes it. It's just so bitter. Tea is a drink to be enjoyed, Naruhodo-san. You really don't have to force yourself to drink it, you know. I don't like to see you screw up your face, though. We're just not gonna mention the fact that she's literally reading our mind. Or maybe our face is just so expressionable. It's just bad. We gotta fix that. We gotta practice that poker face in court. Or Inosuke. We've only been here in London for about 2 months, but my desk is starting to look a little messy already. You could tidy up once in a while. Susato-san, I always say, making a mess is a small sacrifice to pay for being able to further your studies. Who says that? And time spent tidying up is time you can't devote to the same cause. And time spent on ridiculous arguments is time that could be better spent on some simple housework. She wins, but I'm supposed to be the lawyer here. Girlie can be a lawyer. I believe in her. Daruma. Ah, the Daruma doll I brought with me from home, still with only one eye colored in. I said I'd color the other eye once I won my first court case here in Britain, but... We have won, haven't you? Twice, in fact. Because I feel as though I'm still lacking as a lawyer. I tell you what, why don't you color the other eye in once you think I'm a proper, fully fledged lawyer? If you insist. Oh, she's not gonna do it now? Okay, she thinks that I'm not ready, either. Good to know that we're on the same page, I guess. Ah, this must be the telegram. Let's see. Ah! No, you mustn't look at that. Not under any circumstances. Alright, I won't. I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san, but you can be very mischievous at times. Then put the telegram away if you don't want people looking at it. I gotta look at it. I gotta know. We were rather lucky to find that old aquarium left behind here. The prawns you put in there are doing rather well, and the anemones too. It's a wonderful invention, isn't it? The sea, behind glass, inside your room. Another example of Great Britain's greatness. Having to clean it out and change the water isn't so great though, is it? No, it's tedious and time-consuming. I would know. Alright, I don't think there's anything else around here. What's up with the spade talk? I'm so curious about that. You know, I've never seen inside your room there, Susato-san. Which one's my room? I've never even peeped inside. I should think so too. A young maiden's private chamber is a place of bittersweet secrets, you know. Whatever you say, young maiden. And she's right. Don't look into her room, Creefo. Okay, I guess we can move now. Morning, Runa. Morning, Susie. Good morning, Iris. Ooh, who's playing the violin? Iris? What is it, Bruno? What is that terrible noise? It sounds like a cat being strangled. Ah, yes. You noticed that, didn't you? Bitch? Charlie isn't in the best form this morning, it seems. Oh. Hello. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Good morning. Good morning. To die, perhaps. Hello? Something happened, Mr. Sholmes. You look miserable, and the way you were playing the violin before... My analytical mind is dead. Music is dead. The world is dead. Damn this blanched existence. That's all it is, my dear fellow. Nothing of consequence. Hey, Solid. I'm afraid I don't understand. Well, Iris, isn't it time we ate some dry toast and insipid coffee for me? If it's not too much trouble. Meow. Ah, kitty! Oh, it's the cat. It's Soseki-san's cat. Oh my god, he has a little bow tie! Oh look, it's Wagahai. Good morning, boy. Meow. That must be some sort of tiny door for cats to use. How'd it get there? Well then, everyone, time for breakfast! Oh, wonderful. Let me help you, Iris. Ugh. It would indeed be a fine day to die. I knew something looked different. Something's missing from Mr. Sholmes' desk. Wait! Yeah, his, the big-ass invention thing that's on his desk is not there anymore. You okay, buddy? Wanting to die. You seem to be very unhappy this morning, Mr. Sholmes. What's happened? It used to be the case that in my hands, this violin sung like the dawn chorus, its melissonant tones would make flowers bloom. It would. But now, the muses are unamused with me. The goddesses of music have thrown me over. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? For hours I've bowed, for days even, through the night I have endeavored to no avail. That sound, my tone, is lost. That brilliant, clear, unwavering tone, gone forever. No more recitals of unbridled emotion. Well, you haven't been practicing much lately, have you, Hurley? Don't worry, I'm sure it'll come back to you in time. Heed my words, Mr. Naruhodo. The goddesses of the arts are fickle. One day they bestow genius on a man, the next they unmercifully withdraw it. Oh, dear. Ugh, why is this happening to me? If they take the turn I have for the violin from me, what is left for pity's sake? What is left? Deduction, perhaps? Isn't that what you're known for? God, he does like me for real. Mr. Soames, I don't like to pry, but... your desk looks rather empty today. Ah, well done, Miss Susato. Your observational skills do you credit. Oh, no, Mr. Soames, they pale into insignificance when compared to yours. You'd struggle not to notice, wouldn't you? Give me a Hurley's great analytoscope. That's at Windybank's now. Sorry? It's at a Windybank? No, Windybank's, the pawnbrokery. On what? You mean you've pawned that enormous machine of yours? Are you broke? It has some considerable value, you see. Quite undeservingly. But isn't it a very important machine for your work? I do wish you had consulted us if your situation had become so desperate. I should have gladly passed what little income I have to you. Dear madam, things are far from desperate. But the pawnbroker has your wonderful machine. How can it be anything but desperate? Making use of a pawnbrokery is quite ordinary here in London, I assure you. It is. It doesn't sound ordinary at all. It would seem that neither of you fully understand how pawnbroking works. I guess not, because I would have thought you were in dire straits. Oh, what's to understand exactly? Enlighten me. What do you mean by when you said we didn't fully understand how pawnbroking works? To the people of London, pawnbrokeries are akin to banks. Banks? Oh, for safekeeping? On Mondays, merchants relinquish their finest jackets and trappings to their pawnbroker of choice. With the money they receive in return, they are able to trade happily through the week. And then on Saturdays, they go to recover their things using the money they've earned. I had no idea. This has been a fascinating lesson for us. Oh, okay. An advance. And they're using the whatever items as collateral. I feel like that's the thing. I feel like that's what pawnbrokers do nowadays, though. Still. Everyone does it, you see, especially people in inner London. And should they have money to spare, they would purchase another fine jacket. Not to wear, obviously, but to pawn, should the need arise. Oh, how ingenious. So whenever we have something that's getting in the way, we leave it at Windybank's, you see. Oh. A pawnbrokery can be thought of as an extremely secure vault. Who would have thought that even pawnbrokers are different here in Great Britain? Of course, you have to watch Hurley with it. Sometimes he pawns things he really shouldn't. Don't you, Hurley? What does it matter? The world is dead to me now. Why did you pawn? Why'd you pawn off your machine? Look at Mr. Sholmes' desk. It's completely clear. Isn't that enormous machine usually on it? You can never hope to understand what goes on in the great detective's mind, Mr. Naruhodo. Why, next time we're invited, we may find he's vacated the entire suite. That's scarily plausible, actually. Yeah, but like, come on now. We need a friend here. There's all sorts of these shelves. Chemistry apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high I can't help feeling that the whole lot is going to topple at any moment. Oh, it's such a charmingly untidy collection of paraphernalia, isn't it? It just looks messy to me, like my desk. But you, Mr. Naruhodo, must learn to tidy up after yourself. No favoritism here, then. Girl, fuck you! The fire's burning comfortingly in the grate again today. It's a very different feeling to a Japanese hibachi somehow. Oh, look at that photographic print of a lady displayed on the mantelpiece. Could it be? Yes, it must be. It's a woman. Oh, how exciting! Is that supposed to mean something to me? You just say that and not explain? Hateful. These are all mementos of Mr. Sholmes' past cases, I think. If he'd been involved in my case, I wonder if the beefsteak from La Carnival would be on display here. A mystery shoe, a curious hammer, some mysterious dancing men, a bust of Napoleon. Ah, what an entrancing collection. Looks like an untidy assortment of junk to me, rather like what's on my own shelves. Well, you really ought to learn to keep your things in order, Mr. Naruhodo. No favoritism there at all. Looks like that huge metal chest is being used as a table for tea and coffee. Oh, that's what I use a huge chest for a living room table too. It seems very sturdy with an equally sturdy lock. Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't go around opening things. I always have to keep an eye on you, don't I? You're very mischievous. How'd you come to that conclusion? I was just looking at it. Oh, and this is Iris's area. Iris's beautiful tea set is there on the table as usual. A cup of one of her special herbal blends always helps me to relax when I'm feeling the strain. The English pastime of tea has many similarities with our own tea ceremony customs, don't you think? It's the idea of hospitality behind it. That's the essence of tea. I guess, yeah, that's similar. This is where Iris notes down ideas, isn't it? Let's see, what does it say today? Ah, the Boscombe Valley Mystery. Ooh, how intriguing! It must be the title of Iris's latest work. Oh my, I wonder what fantastic tale awaits us. Susato-san looks like an angel, but I bet she's dreaming of the most unsavory crime you could imagine. He's one of the true crime bitches. It's a charming little white shelf, and full of charming little bottles too. The contents of them aren't quite so charming, it seems. Science is a feature, Mr. Naruhodo. You can't deny it. I'm saving my money so I can buy some chemistry apparatus as well. Law. Chemistry. Takedown throws. What diverse skills you boast, Miss Susato. As useful as they are, I'm not sure that my throwing skills are worthy of inclusion in that list. No, I can attest to them. They are very good. Believe me. Come to think of it, I haven't seen Iris doing much writing recently. But there's paper already set up in a typewriter, look, as if she's about to start. That reminds me, when I mentioned that Iris was in the process of writing a full-fledged novel, Mr. Natsume was most impressed. Ah yes, Mr. Natsume. That's what I'll be doing too, once I'm back in Japan, he said through tightly clenched fists and teeth. Oh yeah. I wonder what he's gonna write about. Okay, nothing else here. Mr. Natsume's cat seems to have settled into his new home then. Yes, and I've become very attached to little Waggy. It would appear his previous owner is completely forgotten to him. Cats are unfeeling creatures, their mews as empty as the hearts of the muses. Oh my goodness! If Mr. Natsume had no intention of taking Waggy back to Japan, I wonder why he kept him in the first place. I expect he would have taken him if he could. But pets are strictly forbidden aboard steamships in our experience. And for good reason. Terrible things can happen if the rules of passage are not obeyed. Well, I don't mind, because Waggy is adorable. Oh. Yes, he really is. Oh yes, what about the door? I don't remember seeing that tiny thing in the main door before. Where'd that come from? Oh, you noticed? You're observant, Runo. Look, I use this. It's my latest invention. What is that? I call it the cat flapomat. Gosh, a machine for making doors just for cats? That's right, it can make a cat flap for a little furry friend like Waggy in seconds. And it can do it in any door at all, no matter what it's made of. It's very powerful, you see. Wouldn't it have been quicker just to make the cat flap rather than making a machine to make the cat flap? Well, yes, maybe, but now I can make cat flaps anywhere I like. Oh, I think it's wonderful. You must make one for us in the door of our office upstairs, Iris. She really knows how to come up with unconventional inventions, this girl. Yeah. Oh, what was that? Wagahai? Uh-oh. What was that? Oh no! Wagahai is tangled up in your violin! I think he thinks it's a toy. No! What's he doing to it? Oh dear! Mr. Sholmes' precious violin! Why should I care? What? I shouldn't be surprised if the cat is a more accomplished musician than I now. Mr. Sholmes really is in poor spirits, isn't he? Well, anyway, I'll put it back where it lives, shall I, Hurley? Out of the cat's reach, if possible. Maybe we should assess the damage. Can I look at it? Where's the... Oh, here it is. So this is a violin, is it? It's a Stradivarius, one of the finest violins in the world, made by the renowned Italian luthier Antonio Stradivari. Oh, I see. It doesn't really look like anything special to me. I happened upon it covered in dust, languishing in a pawn shop down a nondescript back alley. The broker had no idea of its value, so I was able to purchase it for a mere 55 shillings. How honorable of you. And until today, it has been my faithful companion in every great Paganini-inspired performance I have made. I ask you, is there a reason to live in a world devoid of music? To tolerate this blanched existence? No. There is none. Mr. Sholmes? What, dear madam, what? My thoughts are preoccupied with fancies of release from this dull routine. Well, it's about the violin. It looks very different to normal, don't you think? Hmm? What do you mean, Miss Susato? Oh, Judy's right. Yes. The tone of the wood is completely different. And that's not all. I'm sure there was no crack here before. Wait, it's not even the right size, is it? What's this? I'm terribly sorry to have to tell you this, Mr. Sholmes, but that instrument isn't a violin at all. Then what? I believe it's an entirely different instrument called a viola. What? What? Oh my god. He became lost for words. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, are you alright? You're right. You are quite right. This isn't my faithful Stradivarius. So what, pray, is this piece of stringed flotsam? Not your faithful performing partner, then. I see what must have happened. You do, Iris. This is just a simple mix-up. It sounds like Iris might be able to tell us exactly what's happened if we ask her. Oh, can we not just... Okay, I guess I gotta click on you. What do you mean by a mix-up, Iris? Well, you see, this violin... sorry, this viola, I mean... was at Windibank's until last week. At the pawnbroker's. Not Mr. Sholmes' beloved musical partner. There is a proverb from the East, with which you are no doubt familiar, my dear fellows. Always let a beloved child travel. Yes, indeed. So you sent your beloved violin to pawnbrokers in the hope that it would experience personal growth? Oh, what a wonderful idea! Last week I pawned my great analytoscope in order to release my precious instrument. But it would appear Mr. Windibank mistakenly furnished me with his tawdry fiddle instead. But my ears cannot be deceived by the hollow timbre of this piece of timber. No, but your every sense was deceived by the fact that it just had strings. Oh, a fine state of affairs this is, and why I always say, Mr. Naruhodo, never trust a pawnbroker. They will try to fiddle you, haha, every time. But earlier you told us that you could think of a pawnbrokery as an extremely secure vault. Come, Mr. Naruhodo, dilly-dallying will get you nowhere. Sorry? Crunching your toast with that vacant aspect, fressing your coffee so obtusely. Are you not a little embarrassed by your own conduct, considering the urgency with which we are faced? This is your problem, it's not my problem. We must visit Mr. Windibank's brokery at once. That's right, isn't it, Mr. Sholmes? Precisely, Miss Susato, without a moment's delay. But I haven't finished my bacon and eggs. My dear fellow, surely you do not still intend to crunch your bacon with an increasingly vacant aspect, to fress your egg ever more obtusely. Right, alright, say no more. Let's go then. Don't worry, Runa. I'd be happy to heat it up for you again later. Oh, thank you, Iris. As it happens, I'm rather curious to see what a British pawnbroker's looks like. Interesting. New location. Let's look at Baker Street. Closed. Look at all the different things in the window of this shop. Ah, that's Windibank's, the pawnbrokery. It looks much smarter than the pawnbrokers in Japan, doesn't it? Yes, you're right. I find pawn shops at home rather inapproachable, personally. It reminds me of tearfully parting with my favorite fountain pen. I felt so miserable. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger, Mr. Naruhodo. So true. It's already been 2 months since we started taking lodgings here above Mr. Sholmes' office. I still can't quite believe it. I never expected things would turn out like this. Oh, I know! To actually be sharing accommodation with the world's greatest detective! If I ever find myself before a court of law now, I will have not one regret. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'd be happy to defend you, of course. Are you planning to do something? Okay, that's it. Go to the pawnbroker. So this is a British pawnbrokery. Oh my, there are all sorts of tools and contraptions in here that I've never laid eyes on before. Ah, Susato-san, and that spark of wonder in your eyes. You can't wait to scour the shelves, can you? I get the impression you enjoy places like this. Oh yes, I don't know why, but seeing such a lot of things I don't understand is a real thrill for me. My dear fellows, let us not forget why we are here. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. We are calling on matters of business, not pleasure. And clearly Mr. Sholmes means business too, judging from the spark of fury in his eyes. Ah, Mr. Sholmes, sir, welcome back. Did you hear that brazen welcome? Well, yes, we are potential customers after all. We are disgruntled customers, Mr. Naruhodo. It's time to inform Mr. Windibank of our ire. Come, the fight is afoot. Naturally, you will recall this, which I retrieved from you some days ago. Yes. This second-rate fiddle is not my faithful instrument, Mr. Windibank. The color of the wood is different. It has holes in it. It's not even the same size. A wonderful summary of our observations, Mr. Sholmes. I'm so very sorry, sir. How utterly unforgivable of me, an inexcusable mistake for a pawnbroker. There's only one way to make amends. Oh my god! No! Don't! Give me the gun. This fucking music in the background. I shall have to take my own life. I don't think that will be necessary, do you? If I might just say one thing before I pop off. Yes. It was you, sir, Mr. Sholmes, who took it upon himself to remove the item the other day, I believe. Sorry. As I recall, I entered the storeroom to fetch your violin when I heard, "Ah, here it is." You did. And when I turned to controvert you, you had taken the viola and left, sir. However, there can be no doubt that the blame lies firmly at my own door for allowing you to leave. So I shall not grumble or grouse any longer. May this guilt die with me. No, 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 stop, my dear fellow. The fault is mine. Phew. It would appear that the fight is over. I do humbly apologize, Mr. Windibank. Evidently my questionable disposition precipitated this tragedy. Oh my god, he apologized. Well, you wouldn't be Mr. Herlock Sholmes without that questionable disposition now, would you? Haha, I do believe you may be right, sir. It's either laugh or cry, I suppose. You are, it must be said, one of my more challenging customers. I need remind you of the peculiar collection of items you've brought through my door in the past. Oh? Peculiar items? In the extreme, ma'am, for example, the unpublished manuscript of an eponymous work, the novels of Herlock Sholmes or some such. Oh my, a new full-fledged novel? And unpublished? A story I've yet to read, you mean? Ah, forgive me! Wait, before you die, you must tell me more. Sir, give me the gun. I must know more. Tell me everything. Wow, Susato-san is really fired up now. Is there really an unpublished story under this very roof? Well, one day the gentleman here brought in an old metal chest, you see. I should like to entrust this to your care for a while, Mr. Windibank. For a chest like that, 1 shilling, sir, not a farthing more. It houses something of very great value indeed. The latest manuscript, recounting the adventures of one Mr. Herlock Sholmes. I beg your pardon? A manuscript? You wish to deposit a manuscript? Indeed I do, for I am confident it will be quite safe here. That was at As such, Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mystery lies dormant in my storeroom. Mr. Sholmes, is that really true? Do I sense that someone doesn't want to talk about this? I continue to pay your fee, do I not? Then kindly continue to store my belongings securely. Of course, sir, of course. They're safe and sound with me, I assure you, on my life. This is all very strange. I wonder, could I ask you something? Ah, a gentleman from the east, I see. Yes, that sable suit. I suppose I could offer you 6 pence for it. Without wishing to offend, the tone is somewhat dull. Sorry? Aha! But for your splendid attire, ma'am. 5 guineas, no less. Damn! The colors are exquisite, the design exotic. Eastern artistry at its finest, may I say. Oh my, 5 guineas, you say? How interesting. Why do I feel as though I've suffered some sort of defeat here? Actually, I was hoping to ask you about your business. I've heard it said that pawnbrokeries are used rather like banks here in London. Yes, sir, indeed. Many of my customers utilize the establishment as you described. I appraise their items and offer them a proportionate loan and 2 months of secure stowage. If in that time they repay the original sum to me plus the agreed interest, their items are happily returned. Plus interest, huh? What happens if they don't pay you the money? Then the items are offered for sale in my shop, as you can see on the shelves behind me. So you never sell items before the 2 months has passed then? That's right, ma'am, that's right. Which means some considerable responsibility rests on my shoulders. Should a customer's precious belongings be lost, the only recompense is for me to end it all. The very idea, Mr. Windibank, is an absurdity. One should never talk of one's demise so casually. Listen to you this morning, says the man who was telling us all it was a good day to die only this morning. And let us not forget that I have already helped you take measures to ensure such a tragedy never occurs. Oh, what sort of measures? I engineered a simple device which Mr. Windibank has installed here in his shop. I call it the red-handed recorder. Is that not so, Mr. Windibank? What was that deep sigh about? What on earth is a red-handed recorder? Use your eyes, my dear fellow. There are 2 just below the ceiling. I can see what appears to be a camera attached to some sort of timing device. Very astute. It is indeed a camera furnished with some 100 pieces of celluloid film. And every 30 minutes precisely. This is gonna be important. The camera automatically records the appearance of the shop. Here, I have an example I can show you. Ah yes, a print from the camera set to record the activity at the shop counter. I developed a special type of film so sensitive it produces a crystal clear image even in darkness. Yeah, this looks fucking clear. Really? That's extraordinary. Yes, you can clearly see the counter and the door behind it, look! So you see, were someone to enter the premises with ill intent, his identity would be summarily exposed. But did you not say that the photographic prints were taken at 30-minute intervals? Indeed, as you say, my dear madam. They could come in and leave within 30 minutes. And what if the incident were to occur in between times? One could only say that would be a cruel twist of fate. I must confess, your devices have been giving me some cause for distress of late. I beg your pardon, Mr. Windibank. Surely they are anything but distressing. Reassuring is the word. It's the cost of film, sir. You must graciously place not 1, but 2 cameras in my shop after all. Which means I must pay for nigh on 100 utterly useless prints every single day. I'm afraid the cost of the film will break me before I'm very much older. Nevertheless, a small price to pay to ensure the safety of my preferred pawnbrokery. No. My dear fellows, we verge on an age where safety and security come at a price. Oh, heaven help us. He's not wrong. Now then, Mr. Sholmes, allow me to return your precious violin. Ah, the very thing. Thank you, Mr. Windibank. Perhaps this might mark the end of a peculiar items you try to pop, Because if anything were to happen to one of them, this would be the only answer. I really think you ought to stop waving that gun around. Someone could get hurt. Fear not! Sorry. I've only loaded a single bullet, so no one but myself could possibly be harmed. Okay, this is important too. That's not really what I meant. Good day to you then, Mr. Windibank. It's been a pleasure as always, Mr. Sholmes. So, Mr. Naruhodo. Now we can explore at last. Yeah, let's look. There seems to be a little door hidden behind that curtain there. That leads to the storage room, where Mr. Windibank keeps articles that are currently in pawn. Ah, I see. There's nothing of particular interest inside. I certainly wouldn't recommend any larcenous activity. Recommended or not, it's not something I tend to do. There is but one key, and Mr. Windibank keeps it in his pocket at all times. Before he sleeps, he places it into a small pot, which he slides under his pillow. How on earth do you know about that, Mr. Sholmes? I am a detective, sir. It is my business to know what others do not. I am frequently assailed by information that I neither care for nor wish to retain. Mr. Sholmes, you are a wonder. And the prime suspect in this pawnbrokery is ever burgled. True. Look at this! What could this lovely, big, shiny box be? That, my dear madam, is a music box. Surely you have such things in your own country. Oh my, yes, but I've certainly never seen one so large before. Shall we listen a while? Ah, what a sublime sound. It's like the music of angels. Never heard anything like it before in my life. This particular specimen is of the larger variety, commonly found in public houses and restaurants. There is a metal disc inside on which the notes to be played are recorded. Simply by replacing the disc with another, any music you care to imagine can be played. My goodness, what a simply delightful machine! Indeed, though their popularity has waned recently with the development of the gramophone, of course. Huh. Science and technology advance at such an overwhelming pace. What an assortment of things here. Wait, what an assortment of things there are on these shelves here. Crockery, footwear, clocks, and watches. Almost anything you can care to imagine. Those are forfeited items offered for sale by the pawnbroker. What does that really mean, though? When you pawn, or colloquially pop, an item, the broker loans you money against its worth. He stores the item for an agreed period of time, after which the loan must be repaid. If not, he is free to display it in his shop for sale at a price of his choosing. Oh yes, now you've explained it. I'm noticing little price tags on everything. Of course, simply by paying the agreed interest on the loan, one can extend the period of safekeeping. So you may pawn that black garb of yours without fear, my dear fellow. My treasured university uniform? Never! It embodies my student spirit. Yeah, don't do that. Susato, though. You can get 5 guineas for that. Look at that enormous ledger open on the counter there. Mr. Windibank is, if nothing else, very particular about recording the items he accepts. He'd have to be, otherwise he'd get himself into all sorts of trouble. Which might explain the thing that catches my eye far more than the ledger. This revolver here. Do not entertain even a single thought of pilfering an article herein, my dear fellow. I assure you, Mr. Windibank would not hesitate to draw that weapon with a speed belying his portly size. Oh, you don't mean he'd blow his brains out? Indeed, in recompense for his blunder. Oh my. But in any case, of course you would never do such a thing. How could you even suggest it? Oh my god, are we gonna find him, like, dead? Now what do you suppose this rather enormous machine does? It seems to have two little windows for looking through. Allow me to enlighten you, my dear fellows. What you're looking at is a stereoscope. A stereoscope. Fascinating. It is aptly named, I assure you. Look through the eyepieces and see for yourself. Oh, I should be delighted to. Excuse me a moment while I just have a look. Just before you do, there is something I should point out. My dear fellows, in order to see the image properly, stereoscopically, as it were, you'll need to be cross-eyed. However, if that is beyond you, it is of little consequence today. Alright then, I'm going to try it. Ah! Mr. Naruhodo, you must see! At once! Oh, alright then. So I need to be cross-eyed, like I'm trying to look at my own nose. Oh, it's her. What the? I don't believe it. It's just a photographic print, but it seems like you could reach out and touch it. Yes, the sense of death is startling, is it not? Stereoscopes are one of London's many fads. They are often found in little stalls in the park. People queue for hours to see them. Why? Why are people meddling with such black magic? It is no magic, my dear madam. It is, well, far too complicated to explain at present. We shall save this lesson for another day. Oh. Wow. He's not gonna explain it. Maybe he doesn't know how to. Or maybe he doesn't know. Ooh. Look at this! Whatever could it be used for? I have no idea. Ah. There's a small catch just here, look. We're going to open it, aren't we? Oh my, that's amazing! It has some sort of spring-loaded mechanism, which we'll never manage to put back into the way it was before. Hmm? What are you two doing? What? Us? Nothing! No, nothing at all. Whatever this device is, it seems to have a pair of little windows to look through. I feel as though I've seen something rather similar to this elsewhere. Wouldn't it be the stereoscope? Looks like we put something in front of it. That's not a calendar you could easily miss, is it? 15th of April, today's date. Yes, that's not for sale, I must point out. It is an Eastern-style page-a-day calendar. Every night at midnight, I tear off the front page to reveal the following day's date. Perfect calendar for a tearaway fellow such as yourself, Mr. Windibank. And who is it who walked out of here with the wrong violin before? Well, when the agreed storage period has passed without repayment, articles are forfeited, you see. So I have to keep a close eye on the date. It's something of a pawnbroker's obsession, you might say. Oh yes, I can see you're very dedicated to your job. Well, only tuppence for it. That ain't fair, and you know it. The article's barely worth a penny, miss. I cannot offer more. Sounds like there's an argument brewing over by the counter. Come on, that can't be right. Are you even at a proper butcher's at it? I've seen all I need to see, young girl. Wait, don't we know? I'm sure I recognize her. Oh, yes! The young lady from Mr. McGilda's trial 2 months ago. Yeah, Gina Lestrade. She likes smoke bombs. God, Bennett, you lot! Well, Miss Lestrade, I hope you've been well. Eh, what? You remember me then, do ya? Well, I remember being completely surrounded by smoke, that's for sure. So, what are you doing in here? Down and out, like the rest of us. Nothing to eat. Come to pop that black weasel. Sorry. Coat, Avia. What is it about this whack uniform that makes everyone comment on it? Ah, good day, unless I'm much mistaken. You would be the young pickpocket who stole our experimental smoke grenade launcher. Ah, Mr. Sholmes! So, you have something of value to pawn, do you? Allow me to see the article and I shall negotiate with Mr. Windibank on your behalf. Pull the other one. I don't need no help from some stuck-up D. Get out of my business. Go on or I'll make trouble for you. As you wish, Miss Lestrade. I will happily remove myself from your presence. He just disappeared. He's really done it. He's gone. I'm sorry, but as I said, there really is no room for negotiation here. What's that thing he has in his hand? Some kind of metal disc. And you, go on, leave me alone! Oh, Miss Lestrade, just pretend we aren't here. We shan't be offended in the slightest. Susato-san can really stand her ground when she wants to. Whatever. I'll take a sip. Oops. What brings you here? Somehow I didn't really think you were the sort of person who'd use a pawnbroker, Miss Lestrade. Yeah, well I am, alright? I'm a Londoner, just like everyone else. That a problem, is it? No, not at all. It's just that, well... Oh, I get it. I know what you're thinking. That thing probably don't even belong to her. Probably got on the dive, didn't she? Yeah, I can see it written all over your Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase. Well, I might have been thinking something along those lines. You're not going to deny it, Mr. Naruhodo. Alright then, I'm just going to come out and ask you straight. Do you pawn things that you steal from other people? Well, I don't know how best to answer that, really. Suppose, sometimes. So yes. You're not going to deny it either, Miss Lestrade. No, this time alright, I swear, that thing belongs to me. The disc that Mr. Windibank is holding. Perhaps you should see what he has to say about all this. What you gotta say about this? Mr. Windibank, what exactly is this metal disc that Miss Lestrade has brought in? It seems to have hundreds of tiny little bumps on its surface. Ah, this is a music disc, you see, for use inside a music box. In a music box? What? You don't even know what a music box is? You Eastern lot ain't too savvy, eh? I know what a music box is, I've just never seen one of those discs before. The small protrusions on the middle disc encode the tune to be played by the music box. You simply insert the disc and set the machine going, and beautiful music plays. It's so incredible! Tell us, what tune is on this disc? Well, I'm afraid I couldn't tell you that. There are so many different types of music box, you see. British-made, German, Swiss... I have no way of knowing which particular machine this disc was made for. Ah, I see. And that's it in a nutshell. I wouldn't have any customers for an item like this, even if the young lady forfeited it. Really, I'm already offering more than I should at a penny. That's a packet of lies. He told me he did. He said it was, well... Who? Never you mind, it just ain't right, that's all. That disc's worth good money, I know it is. Well then, you'll have to try your luck at another pawnbroker's, won't you? Ugh. She's been in before, of course, this little tattered Demalion. Whoa, what a word. I see. I brought some dubious article or other with her every single time, I might add. Dubious? What are you trying to say? I'm an honest customer, me. So, is there something dubious about the disc she brought in today? Well, if only it were that simple. Sorry, what do you mean? What she actually brought in was a storage ticket. Ah, a storage ticket. So, Mr. Strahd has actually come to redeem an article from you today, is that right? Yeah, that's right. A girl like me has a lot of stuff what needs storing. Alright, yes, that's definitely dubious. The article in question would have been forfeited at midnight tonight, but as she gave me the ticket for it and repaid both the loan and the interest... Oh, she repaid all of it? Then give it to her. I was obliged to return the article to her. But what was the article? Do tell us, Mr. Windibank. The little scamp is wearing it, ma'am. It's the overcoat that she redeemed. Oh. What? What's wrong with that? It fits, don't it? I mean, it's mine, so of course it does. So, what about the disc then? How does that come into all this? Ah, the disc is something else. A new article to pawn if the girl and I can agree a price. I'm confused. I thought you said that Mrs. Strahd brought in a storage ticket today. It's really quite simple. Yes, the child brought me a storage ticket and the money owed on it as you say. For this heavy black coat which you returned to her care as I'd understood it. That's right, yes, and rather unsurprisingly as soon as the little ragamuffin put the thing on, she went rifling through the pockets. Oh, you mean... What? Don't you know it's rude to stare at a lady? Ah, I see. So it came from the pocket of the overcoat, did it? If you mean this disc, then yes, exactly, ma'am. And she immediately tried to pawn it. For quite a high price as well. This is all rather suspicious, I think. Give it up, I'm just trying to pawn something like anyone else would. Mrs. Strahd, may I ask who deposited the overcoat here in the first place? Oh, well, me. It doesn't really appear to be your size. Me old man! It's me old man's, ain't it? Is it Mrs. Strahd? Yes, this is definitely all rather suspicious. Out of my way, please. Oh my goodness. Who's this picture postcard English gentleman? Good day to you, ladies, gentlemen. What's your problem, eh? There is no problem, as long as you remove yourself. I have a matter to discuss with the proprietor. And if you intend to make a problem of it, I shall see you outside, little girl, for the hiding you deserve. Look, ain't it obvious? I ain't done talking with him yet. If you think you're such a gent, you should know how to wait in line. Well, you are an impudent little brat, aren't you? As well as a pickpocket. Eh? Who are you? How do you know who I am? The question is, how do you not know who I am? You haven't the courtesy even to remember the faces of your victims, it seems. What? You mean from you? Broker? Yes, sir. I believe this filthy pocketer thief has just redeemed an article from you, no? Yes, the article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once. Oh my... Now that's a lie! What are you trying to pull? Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel, and needless to say... Any music box this too. No, you can't have it! You just can't! It's me old man's, or it was, now it's mine! Goodness, Mr. Naruhodo. This is a very awkward situation. Yes. I think perhaps we should hear both sides of the story in a little more detail. Miss Estrade, is what the gentleman is saying. What do you think? It's all lies, ain't it? Obviously. I swear on my life, I ain't never laid eyes on that dandy before. Let's hear it now, you little ragamuffin. You stole it, didn't you? That ticket you brought in here just now? No, I swear it. I swear to God. It was barely an hour ago. I was walking along the street, minding my own business, when this little gutterling ran into me. I knew at once what had happened. I've been robbed yet again, I thought to myself. Those wretched pickpockets. Yet again. Oh yes, as you can see, I am a man of impeccable style. This isn't the first time that I've been targeted by these back-slum scoundrels. Now then, relinquish my overcoat. Come along now, Miss Lestrade. Give the good gentleman his coat back. If you're going to cause trouble, I shall have no choice but to call the police. Hold on, why does everyone think it's me? Just look at this dandy coat, and you think I'm the dodgy one. I'm sorry, but no one's going to believe you. Well, what about evidence? Yeah. Where's your evidence that I've stolen something, eh? Come on, let's see it. Oh, I have evidence, naturally. You what? Evidence that the article Mr. Strahd redeemed actually belongs to this gentleman. Of course, we need only consult Mr. Windibank's ledger to know the truth. We'll be able to look up the name of the person who deposited the article in the first place. Yes, brilliant. I'm very sorry, but I'm afraid that won't be possible. Oh. I never ask customers' names. That's a strict policy of mine. But why not? Well now, as you can imagine, some of my customers have circumstances to consider. A great many of them prefer to maintain their anonymity. Yes, I see. But then how can you know if an article belongs to the person asking to redeem it? Oh, it's quite simple. Good sir. Might I trouble you for the watchword associated with the article in question? Of course, it's... Professor. Yes, that's right. And all the evidence we need. This gentleman is the rightful owner of the article, without doubt. A watchword? Interesting. So, about these watchwords, Mr. Windibank, as I just explained, I never ask customers' names when they deposit items with me. There are many reasons why. Certain customers would like to keep their activities secret. Oh, he's still here. That wasn't exactly a subtle glance at Mr. Sholmes now, was it? Great detectives have no dark secrets. None at all. Yes, well, anyway, that's why I always ask for a watchword whenever I accept a new article. In many ways, it's like the secret combination of numbers used to unlock a vault. A date of deposit, a description, and a watchword uniquely identify each item. And of course, then I give the storage ticket to the customer. When someone comes to redeem something, I ask for the ticket and the watchword. And if that someone tells you the correct watchword, you return the article. That's right, sir. Yes, just as soon as the requisite fee is paid. And I have supplied you with the information you require already, before the avoidance of doubt. The article in question is an overcoat, deposited 2 months ago on the 15th of February. With a watchword of Professor. All perfectly correct information, sir. But ow! Really, this is beyond a joke now. There is no further room for doubt. Ugh. What are you gonna say about it? Did you say the watchword? Excuse me, but who are you? One would expect the inquirer to introduce himself first. Though clearly you are not British, so perhaps our ways are foreign to you. Oh, sorry, yes, we're from the Empire of Japan. We're studying here. Oh yes, Japan. I've heard talk of the place. Its inhabitants live on some fiery, brown-colored soup dressed up with exotic spices. Talking about miso soup? You might be thinking of somewhere else. And what was that theatrical gesticulation about? Perhaps. Anyway, if you are a gentleman, sir. You offer your own name first before inquiring after the name of another. Of course, yes. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a lawyer. Well, a student of law, really. My name is Susato Mikotova. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's assistant. I see. My name is Benedict. Yes, Eggert Benedict. Enchanté. So refined in how he holds himself and how he speaks, but that name is suspicious. Now to the matter at hand. My overcoat. Return it at once to someone with the style to carry it off. Every move he makes, every breath he takes, I can't stand watching him. So, let that be an end to the matter. And thank you for your custom, Mr. Eggert Benedict, sir. With such reasonable rates of interest, I may even decide to come back. This is why I hate grown-ups. Just because I'm a diva, everyone thinks that makes me a lawyer. And the contents of the cat and the contents of the coat pockets, if you please, Roker. But of course, sir, here's a disc for you. Just this one. Pardon, sir. I was expecting another. That is, I deposited another. Another disc. Oh dear. I regret to inform you, sir, that what was deposited with me was merely the overcoat. The disc happened to be in one of the pockets, but I was completely unaware of it until now. So, Gutterling, you're hiding more of what's rightfully mine, are you? Says who, eh? I don't know nothing about it. Very well. Then I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style. Wait a minute! That disc is mine! Oh! What do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal. Oh my! Yes, there's blood on the disc! It's because of all those sharp little bumps. The man must have scratched his finger on them. I found it first, alright? I mean, it belonged to me old man! So you're not having it. Oi, you take it! Me? If I hang on to it, they'll have it off me again. So you keep hold of it. Mrs. Strata, why is this so important to her? And it has blood on it. You there, in the black livery. Livery? Hand this to me at once, please. No, don't. He's lying. Grown-ups are all liars. Ugh, what do I do now? How am I going to resolve this? Let's save first. I am anxious. Can you put it in here? Look at Mr. Windivank, watching diligently over his shop. There's still so many things I'm curious about. But somehow I don't really feel like this is the right time to be browsing. Calming this fraught situation must be our first priority. I'm fairly certain that we can find just the great thing we need among the articles here in this shop. What? We do? Can we look at the camera? Hey bro, help us. Mr. Sholmes, what are you examining with such keen interest there? As you enjoy bar caramel, I see. So, you found me at last, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? After that young pickpocket sent me on my way, I was forced to lurk in the shadows. Cruelly ostracized as the rest of you partook in the jovial atmosphere of fellowship. I had nothing to occupy my mind, but was too ashamed to let society see what my downfall had done to me. So feigning mock interest, I pretended to examine the tedious trinkets in this desolate place. Whilst, as you shrewdly observe, gnawing on the only friend I have left, the 7% solution of caramel. Afraid you claim to understand the depths of my despair, Mr. Naruhodo, but how could you? I was so lonely, so desperately lonely. Then, why on earth didn't you rejoin the conversation? Things have gone from bad to worse here, you know. Yes, I overheard much of your conversation. Or rather, in my craving for human contact, my ears devoured every word that was uttered. You really were sad, weren't you? Poor Mr. Sholmes, I feel simply awful for you. It would seem that my inferences are correct. Oh, surely you're not about to tell us that you've solved the entire case once again. My dear madam, sometimes I wonder were my genius for deduction to be commoditized. How much could I pawn it for? Seems Mr. Sholmes has had another of his flashes of inspiration. Who knows if it will help to resolve the situation between Miss Lestrade and the mysterious gentleman. What's the right thing to do here? Let's listen to it. Let me save first though. Well, Miss Lestrade, it would appear you find yourself in something of a predicament. Where the blue blazes have you been, eh? Pardon? When a lady's in trouble, a true gent's supposed to be there to help. Straight away, not an hour later. Harsh. And who, pray tell, are you? Mr. Eggert Benedict. You have, in my eyes, a veritably encyclopedic array of curiosities about your person. Nevertheless, there are two immovable conclusions I have drawn. I beg your pardon. The first is this. The true reason for your visit to this pawnbrokery today is something you have not yet revealed. And the second is this. A considerable crime is in contemplation, one you will orchestrate with intent to steal a vast sum of money. Well, Mr. Benedict, what say you to my deductions? How? It's turned as white as a hard-boiled egg. It would seem that once again, Mr. Sholmes has made a flawless deduction. Just who do you think you are, sir? Ah yes, as I hoped. That is precisely the pained expression I was looking for. So, shall we begin? The time has come for yet another Herlock Sholmes's logic and reasoning spectacular. Already, huh? Mystery man's aim. First of all, we must ask ourselves on what business you ventured to this pawnbrokery today. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having had the redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different. As revealed by that which you hold in your hand, yes, what brought you to this shop in the first place is the staff recruitment flyer. The piece of paper in your hand is a staff wanted advertisement from this very shop. Yet even the most unobservant would soon realize that a man of your appearance has no need of such employ. In other words, there is some ulterior motive for your actions. AG. That's not your name. Your name is Eggs Benedict. The cane which you unwittingly clutched to your person exhibits an incontrovertible contradiction. What utter rot! I've had this cane for years! The The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the missing ferrule. The end of any walking cane will be terminated with a metal ferrule to protect the wooden tip. And yet, detailed analysis shows the wooden tip of this stick to be utterly bare. Therefore, there is only one conclusion. The rod that you hold in your hand, which appears to be a walking cane, is in fact no cane at all. You recoil, sir. Is something wrong? And in your recoiling, you would inadvertently facilitate the answer to the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear? Yes, your reaction betrays the truth. The handle, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. From the moment I saw it, my suspicions were aroused. What walking cane demands such a stout handle? Mused I. But of course, as I said, this is no walking cane. No, that rod... is the broken handle of a shovel. What? Are you insane? And now, having determined this undeniable truth, the conclusion is clear. Your true motive for coming here was to take employment at this establishment in order to excavate the ground beneath the premises. What? What a calculated crime you have conceived, sir. A wickedly calculated crime. Seems very out there. Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. For we must expose you to the details of this elaborate crime you have in the planning. This is utterly absurd. You suggest that I, a gentleman, intend to excavate the ground beneath this pawnbrokery with a broken shovel. What on earth do you propose I could expect to find there? Some long-forgotten treasure, I suppose. Save for such a fanciful theory, what possible reason could I have to do as you say? Oh, but there is ample reason. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, and your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. What? Let us consider what would motivate a man to infiltrate a shop such as this and covertly dig beneath its floor. The answer is revealed by the council notice on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. This letter gives notice of public works to be carried out in the local area. And according to the enclosed plan of the upcoming sewerage works, beneath this shop runs a sewer that adjoins another, one that runs under the bank on the opposite side of the road. This madness has entered the sewers now, has it? By excavating the ground beneath our feet, you would gain access to the waterway that flows in very close proximity to the great vault of the financial institution opposite. What are you... In summary, sir, you devise a master plan to pull up an elaborate bank robbery by dint of the underground tunnels. Master plan? Which brings us at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. With what plunder did the thief hope to make off from the underground vault of the bank? Quite serious. Having consulted with Scotland Yard some days ago, I happen to know the answer. But naturally, the answer is no secret to you, is it, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells us all that we need to know. A postcard of the Great Exhibition. I'm afraid you've quite lost me. Currently in the final stages of preparation, the Great Exhibition will soon be underway, and the government has provided extra funds to complete its centerpiece, the Crystal Tower. Funds that currently sit in the vault of the bank on the other side of this road. Pardon? Yes, the considerable crime you have been contemplating is the theft of that which sits in the vault of that bank, the special reserve funds for the Great Exhibition. I think he just gave this man, like, A plan to steal the money. Of course, that is top secret police information, so keep it under your hat, please. Ugh. Sir. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this pawnbroking puzzle. Mr. Sholmes? Well, Mr. Naruhodo? An impressively upbeat deduction for a detective racked with loneliness, would you not agree? Was it true what you said about the bank over the road and what it has in its vault? Indeed, though few know of its existence, it's one of the government's most closely guarded secrets. Gregson told me in the strictest confidence. But you just announced it to everyone here. Rather loudly, in fact. Ah. And if it's such a big secret, how would Mr. Benedict have come to find out about it? There can be but one explanation for that. Clearly, it is because the man is a criminal. But what if he didn't know anything about the money in the vault? If he is a criminal, as you said, then buying a brand new shovel is sure to be the first thing he does now that you've revealed a secret. Oh. Or if he doesn't, maybe Mr. Windibank will. He already has plenty of shovels here after all. On my life! I assure you I'm not so unscrupulous. Well, hopefully this has taught you a valuable lesson. Sensitive information must be handled with the utmost of care. One can never be sure that someone privy to secrets won't disclose them, and once the word is out, it's out. Perhaps I'll think twice before confiding in you next time, Mr. Sholmes. An excellent idea, Mr. Naruhodo. An excellent idea! Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, you know what to do, I'm sure. Yes, let's listen to that great deduction again and see if we can massage it into shape. Very well then, let us start once more from the beginning. Of Herlock Sholmes' magnificent logic and reasoning spectacular. With me. Course correction. What's that shows? So, by Mr. Sholmes' reasoning, Mr. Benedict came here in order to apply for a job so he could dig down through the floor. Yes, in an attempt to tunnel to the sewers to gain access to the money in the vault at the bank across the road. But he wouldn't get very far with a broken shovel, would he? No, I think it's fair to say his motives lie elsewhere. The question is, where? What did bring Mr. Benedict here at this particular point in time? Let's look at you. Oh, there's something here. Oh, look at all the scribbled notes on the back of the flyer here. I don't believe it. What is it? Listen to what it says. Name, Gina Lestrade. Height, 5'2". Oh my gosh, she's my height. Green cap, scruffy waistcoat, grubby white shirt, blue satchel, ragged. It's a detailed description of Miss Lestrade. Goodness, there's even a sketch of her, hat and all. Although if you showed it to her, she'd fire that smoke grenade launcher in his face for sure. And look, the details of this shop have been written down here too. Windibank's Pawnbrokery, Baker Street. Redemption deadline 15th of April. Which is today's date. Why would Mr. Benedict have all that information scrawled on the back of that piece of paper?
Take that!
Guess what brought you to this shop in the first place is the info about Miss Lestrade. Quite so, my dear fellow. It would appear that the writing and sketch on the reverse of the flyer pertain to the pickpocket Miss Lestrade and to Mr. Windibank's pawnbrokery here. Ugh. You originally told us. that you had merely given chase after Miss Lestrade sold a redemption ticket from you. But that, sir, is a thinly veiled lie. It is the information on the back of the flyer that led you here today, by which I mean... Here to win the bank's pawnbrokery, and today the redemption deadline of that overcoat. So you wait outside for the young girl matching the description you have written down to arrive. And you have gone to some lengths to hide the reason for your pursuit of Mrs. Strahd. In other words, there is some ulterior motive for your actions, yeah. Cane. What's a ferrule? It's a metal cap commonly found on the end of a cane, Mr. Naruhodo. Ah, the bit that makes a nice clacking sound to pavement. Yes, exactly. And Mr. Sholmes is right, it appears to be missing on this cane. But it doesn't actually look broken, does it? No, it doesn't, though the gentleman certainly did recoil when Mr. Sholmes identified the cane as suspicious. In other words, there's some secret about the cane that Mr. Benedict would rather we don't know. I know it's the name, but I'm just looking around. Oh wait, the camera's up there. There. Look here, Mrs. Sato. There are some letters on the handle. Ah yes, those must be initials, I think. In the West, it's customary for people to engrave their belongings with the first letters of their names. So Herlock Sholmes would be HS, you mean? That's right. And the initials on this cane obviously... Oh. A G? Why does it feel as though that's not quite right?
Take that!
The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the initialing. A most astute observation, wouldn't you say, Mr. Eggert Benedict? We are led to believe, sir, that your initials are EB. Yet in the most possessive manner, you have in your grasp a cane bearing the initials AG. An incontrovertible contradiction indeed, would you not agree? No, you're wrong. This cane isn't... You said before that you'd had that cane for years. So don't try to tell us that you just borrowed it from a friend or found it in the park. In short, though you hold yourself to be a gentleman, you have withheld your true name. Coil, sir, is something wrong? Thinks it's a fucking shovel. Or the handle. Let's consider the bare bones of what's happened here. Mrs. Strahd redeemed a fine-looking overcoat. And now a mysterious man has appeared, introducing himself with a fake name, and claiming that the overcoat belongs to him. But we know now that he actually identified Mrs. Strahd from a written description, which suggests that everything else he's told us is untrue. So what we need to do here is somehow prove that the overcoat cannot possibly belong to him. Okay. Oh, the seam of the shoulder there is coming apart, look! So it is. Do you know, a moment ago when Mr. Benedict was surprised by something that was said, thought I heard him make a rather strange noise. It sounded a bit like a tiny growl. Oh, I did hear that. I thought it was just something random. But now I think it was probably the sound of this seam ripping open. If you look closely, it does seem to be a very tight fit. The sleeves are stretched to bursting, and he wouldn't have a hope of fastening it at the front. If he were to run around in it, I'm sure the whole thing would fall apart. That I'd like to see. Sorry? So how can we make Mr. Benedict run around? She's really giving this some thought.
Take that!
The split seam, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. Ah. Yes, because the overcoat is rather obviously a poor fit. Having forced it over your broad shoulders, the seam is already breaking apart. My suspicions were aroused from the outset. When you so baldly lied about your name and so boldly waylaid this pickpocket. Ugh. This catalogue of untruths has all been for one very specific purpose. To steal the article that the young girl redeemed from Mr. Windibank. What really irks me is this. The considerable crime I initially imagined has been considerably curtailed. How do you know the watchword, though? Now, Mr. Benedict, let's continue. The crime. Absurd. You suggest that I, a gentleman, designed a wheeze to filch some tawdry article of pawnage. Have you forgotten that I redeemed the article in the proper manner, using the watchword? Had I not been the one to deposit it in the first place? How could I possibly have known the relevant details? N'est-ce pas? Oh, but the watchword can be discovered. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, and your furtive glance. Okay, look at the book. Not this one. The direction of the deduction must change rather dramatically now, I think. Yes, no more talk of tunneling into the sewers. Which is a pity because it all sounded rather exciting. Anyway, you can't deny that this mysterious gentleman did know the watchword. Yes, Professor. If you didn't know that word, Mr. Windibank would never allow you to redeem the article. Or looking at it another way, if you did know that word, Mr. Windibank would allow you to redeem the article whether it was yours or not. So the question is, could this gentleman have found a watchword out somehow? Notelet. Old lamp. Look at this, Miss Susato. Ah, it appears to be a memo that Mr. Windibank has scribbled to himself. Let's see. What does it say? Oh, Professor. Mr. Windibank must make a note of the watchwords his customers give him right before their eyes. And in an alarmingly clear script as well. Oh dear, I don't know where to look. Who knows what other secrets I might see.
Take that!
The method is revealed by the notelet on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. Yes, the broker here follows the same procedure whenever a customer comes to redeem an article. He asks the customer for the watchword and notes down the response uttered on a notelet he has to hand. Oh, okay, so when Gina said the word, he wrote it down. Then he consults his ledger and confirms whether or not the watchword matches that of the article in question. I would expect nothing less of a diligent pawnbroker. But his diligence clearly has its disadvantages. What are you talking about? It is increasingly apparent that you were present in this shop before your accusation against Miss Lestrade. In all likelihood, you followed her inside and then observed her talking to Mr. Windibank. When the diligent broker made a note of the watchword as his common practice, you observed him writing the word Professor on the notelet beside the ledger. And that, sir, was the master plan you devised to steal the pawned article from the young Miss Lestrade. Master plan! Which brings us at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. Why would you go to such lengths to redeem that particular article from this pawnbroker? Are you quite serious? For an ill-fitting overcoat hardly seems to justify the effort, much less a worthless music box disc. But naturally, you had very good reason to make them yours, didn't you, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. What evidence do we have? No. The articles we're talking about are the overcoat and the music box disc that was in one of the pockets. Which, according to Mr. Windibank, isn't even worth a penny. And yet this man went to such lengths to steal them. Why? I wonder if perhaps we already have the evidence we need to explain it, Mr. Naruhodo. Could we? Really? I better have a thorough look through all the evidence we've collected so far. Wouldn't it just be this? Look at all the little bumps on the disc. They're so tiny. Yes, the protrusions are called pins, and they pluck the teeth of the comb to make notes. And just on the edge, there's a small amount of blood. Yes, the blood of the mysterious Mr. Eggert Benedict. When Miss Lestrade tried to grab the disc from him, the pin scratched his fingers, it seems. Like when you're grating some daikon radish and accidentally catch your finger. Ow! 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 I know! I can see that clearly in my head. Ouch! Just thinking about it hurts and puts me off eating radish. Oh! Oh, there's a little scrap of paper stuck into the reverse side of the disc. Look! With a scribbled word or two, it looks like somebody's name. Or McGilded. McGilded? It couldn't be. But it is, Mr. Naruhodo. A name I shall never forget, for as long as I live. Why? Why is his name on this? Oh, heck.
Take that!
You see, this music box disc tells us all that we need to know. What's that on the back? It reads, for McGilded. Ugh. Ah, Mr. Magnus McGilded. The unfortunate philanthropist who perished in curious circumstances at the Old Bailey 2 months ago. A prominent man in London, though his loan-mongering demonstrated a distinct lack of scruples. So, you're an associate of his, are you? Or perhaps a subordinate? Mr. McGilded was a man of unusually small stature. In fact, he was precisely the right size for the overcoat that you squeeze yourself into. Ugh. Wait, somebody stole his overcoat the day he died? Your true identity remains shrouded in mystery, Mr. Eggert Benedict. But the final conclusion here is crystal clear, the reason you came to this pawnbrokery today. Was to retrieve an article left behind by the late Magnus McGilded. Well, well, Mr. Magnus McGilded. Not a name I expected to hear in these circumstances. Mr. Sholmes, I'm afraid there's something very troubling on my mind. Pray tell, Miss Susato. Well, according to what Mr. Windibank told us earlier, today was the final day on which the coat could have been redeemed, was it not? Yes, ma'am, that is correct. Today would be precisely 2 months since it was first deposited. Well, today is the 15th of April, so 2 months ago today would have been 15th of February, sir. That's right. It's all carefully recorded in my ledger. Deposit at 10:30 p.m., I see. What? But that suggests... Yes, 15th of February. It's precisely the day on which the omnibus murder took place. At 10:30 in the evening, precisely the time at which the terrible events were unfolding. Oh! That's the exact time. Suggestive is not the word. It would seem the matter is entirely beyond coincidence. You are, of course, at liberty to make whatever outlandish deductions you choose. However... I must insist you hand over the music box disc now. It would be a terrible shame for you to return to your native land in a box. What do I do? I don't want to die, but also, you're so sussy. Hold on. Wait, let's end it here. Hehe.